for black America, it's just another year. You knew the disrespect by your elected puppeteers, but let me show you how to persevere.
Yo, let me start this off from the beginning real quick. I like this joint. If you haven't heard it before, this is Saba off his Care For Me album from 2018. The song is Smile. It's dope. And I know it's hard to smile right now, but we have to find things to still smile about, right? You still gotta keep on living life. We don't stop fighting the good fight, but you still keep living, right? So, yeah. And yesterday was something to smile about. I mean, the protests in DC are dope. We actually went down there. We tried to practice social distancing as much as possible. We had our masks on to stay safe. We don't want to be the cause of more spikes for COVID, but I think it was important to be down there and check stuff out.
Hey, Clarksville in the building.
Herman, what's good? Happy to have you on. That's my pops, y'all. That's my daddy. Hey, daddy. I used to look, y'all, when I was a kid, I used to get on his back while he did push-ups. I don't think I could do that now. But yeah, when I was like 4 or 5 years old, I used to get on his back while he did push-ups. Throwback. If you don't know what we're listening to, this is Saba off his Care For Me album. The song is Smile. So, give y'all a few more minutes to log in. We got a lot to talk about today. Everything from Candace Owens, Brees, protest, companies sitting in solidarity. Some companies saying, I don't give a darn about none of that. I'm still giving money to Trump. So we gonna try to cover all of that in this hour time from Mama. What's good? Mama, you know I love you. Clarksville in the building. All right, we're turning music down. Look, y'all, let's get ready to get into this. It's your boy, Jake DeCosta.
It is your girl, Candace.
And together we are the Nitty Gritty. Look, thank you guys for being here. We appreciate it. If you're watching, feel free to share the show so other people can see what's going on. Although if you want to be able to comment and we see it at the live show, you do need to be on the Nitty Gritty page, whether you're on Facebook or IG. So you can be part of the conversation. We try to keep it interactive around here. Yeah. And it's dope. Some current news. Actually, before I go into my regular current news, let's clap it up for Katrina, aka Candace. And you can tell the people you were just actually before the show featured on a Zoom call, a forum for black women, correct?
Correct.
Can you tell our audience some more about that? I think that's pretty awesome that you was part of that.
Sure. Shout out to my colleague from CWRU, Erica Chambers. She called me and she was like, hey, would you be willing to be on a panel to talk about your health and fitness, how to cope during COVID-19. There are going to be different folks with different specialties. There was a doctor there. She was a chiropractor, and she was talking about different ways about your muscles, and you can use different oils. And then there was a woman in there. She was the creator. Her name was Deborah Gregory. She was the creator of Cheetah Girls, and the panel
was on Disney Channel.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, right.
And so she was talking about being creative during that time. They had a lawyer on who was talking about how she's basically going to protest, and she's watching how the cops are violating Fourth Amendment rights, and she's documenting it on behalf of people as well as prisoners. So there was a bevy of different topics that were covered. The panel was awesome. I wish I could have stayed for even, up until the last few minutes, but I had to get ready for the Nitty Gritty show. But it was an opportunity. I'm super grateful for it. And I just shout out to all the beautiful black women coming together and sharing of information. So
yeah, that was super dope. Very proud of Candace for being on that, representing the brand, but of course representing herself. And I think this is an important thing when you try to branch out and network and some of the amazing things you do. So yeah, shout out to our very own Candace, getting famous around here. You know what I'm saying?
No.
We even got some comments. That's great, Katrina. Yeah, so that's awesome.
Thank you.
Wanted to highlight that. Oh, something else you had brought up. I want to mention in current news. There are 2 lawyers, right? Or at least it was created by a black man, a website, badcops.com, right?
I think that's it.
Something to that effect. We may have the email wrong, but basically the premise is they've created a website, like an Overwatch site, where they're looking for cops who violate the Fourth Amendment.
Badcops.com, BADCOPZ.com, created by black lawyers, in which they created the very first public searchable database of reporting. So in the event you feel that you have been discriminated against a cop, or a cop has discriminated against your family, go to that website. They will do their just due to ensure that you get the proper backing to get the information. So when they were saying on the thing. You know, when police hide videotape things, they will be the ones to get that information for you and your family so that you guys can get just due.
Wow, that's dope. So yeah, Lana, KC in the building. The Ohio connection, Cleveland Heights, bougie black folks. No, I'm just messing with y'all. We know we love y'all. You know what I'm saying? I got me a Cleveland Heights girl, so you know, obviously this all love, alright? I'm gonna take you mad at me. Yeah, but what's up, Lana? Always good to have the McKinneys in the building.
I know.
Yeah, but I'm really excited about that website. Did you post it in the Nitty Gritty page already?
I did not, but I will.
Alright, yeah, so
badcopswithaz.com.
we'll repost that. We'll also repost it again. We'll make a cute little post. We'll put it on all of our forums. Right, so that way people know, so you can support that cause. Also, let's pay some bills. Don't forget to go to squadlocker.com and search the Nitty Gritty Show. We have some awesome swag and merchandise there. Everything from cats, t-shirts. We have polos. We have hoodies. We have all kind of stuff. So go support. We do get some of the proceeds here from the Nitty Gritty Show. That helps us, you know, keep on paying for that high-speed internet. Oh, what's up? That allows us to keep on doing some other things so that every time you put towards that, it helps. Yeah, Sandra, what's up? New York in the building. Baltimore in the building. Love you, fam. So, yeah, so let's keep that going.
Hey.
Stacy, what's good? So, yeah, so let's do that. Also, pay some more bills. Our business highlight of the week came from Mike over there at Friendly Faces. Friendly Faces is a local barbershop here in the DC area. He has 4 locations. He has a location actually right over here in the Hyattsville area. We also have another one over there in Wheaton. There's 2 mall locations, one in Frederick, Maryland, another one in Columbia, Maryland. Those are still closed because we're honoring COVID-19 guidelines per Maryland. But you can go to the other ones. You can sign up and make an appointment. That information you'll be able to see on IG and Facebook. So wanted to get that out. Typically, we try to have those out by Thursdays.
Yeah.
But, you know, we were a little late gathering information. But that's cool. If you know a black business that you want to highlight, that you want to put on, let the Nitty Gritty Show know. On Thursdays, we always highlight a black business or a black entrepreneur or someone in business. Last week, we had Elisa Seth, who's a real estate agent here in the DMV area. You don't have to be in the DMV. You could be in Cali. You could be in Canada. Shoot, you could be in Lagos, Nigeria, and we will still shout you out. Speaking of Lagos, Nigeria, shout out to Yvonne Orji on her special.
Shout out to Yvonne Orji. Me. A whole me.
For all my Africans, you know exactly what we mean. Look, check that out on
I
HBO.
loved it. It was on HBO. I loved it. I love Yvonne. If you watch Insecure, she's Molly. It was awesome.
Yeah, they have a great show. Really appreciate it. Comment over IG. Appreciate it, Stacey. She said, "Hey y'all, hope you guys are doing as well as you can given these times." Aww. You know, we gonna be blessed, and we really thank you, and we thank you guys for joining in. Stacey, I've known Stacey for a minute, and Stacey, I know you got a lot of good going on. We got to connect. We have to find a way to shout you out because I know you always got good things going. Yeah.
Fellow MPHer.
So. Yeah, so this is good stuff.
Let's kick it off.
So let's get down to what we need to talk about. More current news, more on the George Floyd case. It looks like that one of the younger officers may not be as guilty as the others.
The black
based off what his lawyer is saying. And I guess there's audio and video proof showing that he tried to get George Floyd rolled to his side. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens with that. More than likely, knowing how the law works, they're going to probably get him and another young officer to probably turn on the older officers that still kept them pressed down on his body. We see that now they're trying to, places like Fox News and other conservative outlets are trying to focus more so on his background. George Floyd, but that has nothing to do with how you handle someone, because upon handling the individual, you don't know his background until after you run the background check. That would happen later in the legal proceedings. So even if he was guilty of doing something, it doesn't justify the murder in that situation. So keep that in mind.
I wanted to say something quickly. I find it interesting that they did all of that for a man for an alleged counterfeit $20 bill, but the man that shot up the movie theater, didn't they take him to McDonald's or something like that?
Yeah, Dylan Roof, they got him some McDonald's. He shot up the AME church.
So I'm trying to understand.
The young man dressed like the Joker, they got him some Wendy's, I believe. And countless times, and you can look these videos up on YouTube. We're not making this stuff up. You can see countless videos where someone had just finished shooting up a school, and unless they take their own life, they're always humanely detained. It's interesting, you know, even with the protests in Michigan, because they didn't want to stay at home because they demanded haircuts. They jumped up in a whole government facility with guns. Nothing happened to them. We also saw this happen in Washington and Texas, where that father and son duo, who were involved with both situations, were armed to the teeth. No shots fired, but yet and still, if I have a sign in protest, I could get hit with rubber bullets that have killed people during these protests. So look, let's get down to the nitty gritty. Since we're talking about folks that would rather talk about the character of someone who has been murdered, right? And I really don't want to give her any energy, but we have to talk about it because of the platform she has and the attention of some people she's getting, right? So let's talk about Candace Owens, all right? So if you don't know who Candace Owens is, she's a young black woman. She's a big supporter of Trump. Oh, you know what? I missed some comments. My bad. Sandra Scott said she loves your hair, right?
Oh, I'm just seeing the comments. Thank you. I appreciate it. Something new for the folks.
And she also mentioned that that young man was 4 days on the job. So
yeah. The black guy.
Yeah.
And I can we just for a moment just pause that? Think about being 4 days on the job. You became a police officer because you, being black from the area, wanted to change your community. You actually told the senior officer in charge, Chavez, hey, let's turn him over. He didn't. And now your face is plastered all over every news channel in America. Let's just pray for his mental well-being, because I do feel, now some people may disagree with me, but I do feel that he was put into a very peculiar situation and is being judged as being a criminal.
Yeah. So
I don't know all the details, but from what I do know, it seems like he may be innocent.
And the thing is, it seemed like it would be that way. So I hope that we would give levity to have all the facts before making a judgment.
I like that.
Right? I think that's important. I think that's part of the issue with Candace Owens. Like I was saying before, Candace Owens is a Trump supporter. She actually was a very liberal thinker, and then somewhere made the switch. Now, I will say this: Candace Owens' big thing is, and I think something that people like Killer Mike during the Revolt conference, and others in situations, and even I will say that I don't think she's wrong when she talks about black people blindly following Democrats. I can agree with that. I feel like we should know what we want legislatively, and then force Republican or Democrat to fight for that vote, and then you keep that vote by actually passing legislation that will help us out. We'll talk more about that towards the end of the show about things we need to do next. So we're all about being solution-oriented. However, where I can't rock with her is she'll say things that are so destructive and divisive, and I think she does it for attention. For instance,
of course,
she talks about George Floyd. She says the murder was wrong, right? And I think we all agree with that. But then the attack on his character saying, I won't say that George Floyd's a martyr. When you make comments like that, you're diverting from the issue at hand, which is the issue at hand isn't trying to per se maybe celebrate George Floyd. It's identifying the issue in how he died. It doesn't matter if this man, whatever you can say about his past, has nothing to do how he's apprehended, and the fact that you have 4 police officers there and then a constant officer that we can see on tape with his knee literally on his neck. I don't care about his pre-existing health conditions or his status or what you feel about him in his community or the things you've done past-wise. How he was handled at that time, considering the fact that those 4 officers are also first responders, meaning they have the duty to the health and aid of those that they apprehend. He's already in cuffs. We see video that he was getting beat up beforehand. That was murder. And actually, the fact that he was beat up beforehand and then he kept his knee on his neck, we might as well call that what it was. First-degree murder. According to the state of Minnesota, you would define that as first-degree murder. There's enough evidence there. We know for sure it's second-degree murder, but the fact that he was beat up and accosted beforehand, you might as well call that what it is, first-degree murder.
Yeah, we have some comments.
So Sandra said, and the senior officer was supposed to be training him. She's covering her face with the emoji. Yeah, like, such a headache, right? It's like, wow, like, great training there, guys. Also, Sandra, she said she is wounded and has not dealt with her own trauma. That's her opinion. You know what? I think you're right. I think a lot of these people that speak out and they have this vitriol towards a certain thing, it comes from a place. We've even seen that Candace Owens, you can look this up, this is actually public information, she actually won a settlement for her being treated in a racist way. So
maybe she's a person that likes to, you know, some people stir up stuff so they can get money, sue and get money. I don't know.
Well, I know that her platform has increased since coming out in 2016 and 2015, flipping the switch and now being in support of Republicans and Donald Trump. It has given her a platform to make money.
I want to say something about Sandra's comment here when she said she is wounded and has not dealt with her own trauma.
Let's talk about it.
I just want to say thank you, Sandra. And I want to say that because I feel like oftentimes when we see somebody with a obviously wrong opinion or they have issues, I feel like, especially with social media, we tend to attack them, call them ignorant and Uncle Tom, yada, yada, yada. At the end of the day, that is still a black woman. Mm-hmm. I don't agree with her. I don't like her platform, but she's a black woman. And I like the fact that you said she hasn't dealt with her own trauma, because the reality is when you claim to love black people, that means you love them through their ignorance, you love them through their lack of knowledge, you love them through the good and bad times. You may not like it, but to go out of your way to just drag people on social media, unacceptable. Yeah. And we don't need that right now during this time. The end. And
another good comment from Sandra, she stated the fact, and this is a true statement, she is from Stamford, Connecticut, a predominantly white area. So sometimes you have to look at where someone is from and how does that shape how they're going to have a lens towards things. Now, this is not excusing the behavior.
It's not.
It's just saying you got to recognize where someone's from. You have to see the whole picture, so that way you understand, like, okay, to have discernment to understand, like, okay, this person is hurt. Maybe I shouldn't take what she says with a grain of salt, silence her by not supporting her, and move on. Speaking of silencing her, I'm going to get to that comment.
Just one quick thing, sorry. With her being from a predominantly white area, maybe it's that when she did reach out to black people, maybe they rejected her. That happens all the time. I've had friends that say they were raised in a predominantly white area and they went to a black environment and they were bullied for speaking white or whatever. Not excusing it, but the point being is that we have to think about a person's experience as to the reasons why they project or have these certain opinions. And that is very well probably the reason why.
Yeah, and you know, and then Herman makes a good point. He says, he's agreeing, he says, it will always be the issue at hand, not a character assassination by a company. Yeah.
But these are mature. We got mature folks here, though.
Yeah, I mean, we got
mature folks.
And we got Christian folks here too. So there's a different prayer view of how they look at life. There's always a redemptive quality, and I think that's something that we can't ignore. I understand there's unrest. I understand that people are upset, but there is something. There's a full court press when you're trying to handle issues, especially like inequality in America. And we can see this in the 60s, right? Martin Luther King, the Southern Baptists, the AME, they had a movement that took place in trying to keep people sane going through things. The NOI, Muslim faith, but still they had a place in trying to keep men focused on the big picture, right? But at the same time, there were agitators out there that still had an equal part. You look at the Black Panther Party, you look at people like Kwame Ture and his movement, you know, creating that, you know, I'm black and I'm proud, you know what I'm saying, black power. Everybody has a place in the movement, and it takes all of us working together in various strategies to get this across. I think it's important, though, that you call out people who are destructive and obviously, as Sandra said, is dealing with their own hurt, and they may be putting out inaccurate statements or dangerous statements that may confuse folks who would like to help, but then that's the only source of information they have.
Right. Sandra says, when she talks, I hear hurt in her heart. I agree.
Yeah, I believe that. Sandra talks about the collective approach, and you have some agreement here. And then Herman makes a good point. He says, we know Floyd was no angel, but he did not deserve to die that way. And that's true. He did not deserve that way. And it's because we realize he just died the wrong way. We realize that Ahmaud Arbery, and mind you, that story didn't come out until April, actually going into May. It happened in February. Yeah. And then you have Breonna Taylor right in the mix of all of that. And then the countless other names, Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, so many others that have been killed. Sandra Bland, the list goes on, and we want to stop creating. We don't want this list to grow anymore, so we need legislative change, right? And that's why people are protesting. And then something I want to get into, and kind of Candace Owens kind of spits this off. So recently, Vice President Mike Pence has now invited Billy Porter, I think, is amongst that group, and also
to the White House.
Candace Owens to the White House to talk about racial inequity and what our next steps are. Now
he picked Billy Porter and Candace Owens.
From what the news said, now we'll say
that is very interesting.
Very interesting. Now Candace Owens being there, I think what's interesting to me is that because a lot of her opinions are jaded and she's not fully learned on the things she's talking about. I think Killer Mike exposed her at the Revolt Music Conference. It's dangerous to have that person speak on behalf of all black people, right? I don't think any one person can. I didn't like it when Al Sharpton tried to be that individual. We can't say that. I didn't like it when Jesse Jackson was that individual. I know that might upset some of my older audience, but I've never been a big fan of either one of them. And they kind of showed their true colors during the election. Jesse Jackson had some colorful things to say about Obama that got caught on a hot mic.
He was just jealous.
Yeah, so, you know, I think there's a danger behind having one person. I think that's why I like a collective movement.
Yes.
Expressing the ideas of how black people are affected. We can't just have one voice. And her voice has been destructive. Now, I'm happy to see that some platforms have moved against her. Sandra's like, but Billy Porter, just scratching her head like, what is that?
I mean,
right?
maybe he's trying to connect to the LGBTQ community, a black man. I don't know.
He has some statements that aren't totally popular himself, but I think that's like a
Billy?
whole... Yeah, I'm not even going to go into that right now. That's like a whole other
He got
show.
political statements?
Yeah, some recent ones. I haven't done the work to follow up on all the statements made. Hence why I didn't put it as part of the agenda, but it's there, right? But then I think I do applaud GoFundMe. They did suspend her account after the comments made against George Floyd, because that's how she makes a lot of money, being on a public platform. You can donate to her GoFundMe and stuff like that. They did suspend that. And meanwhile, I would never like to see maybe anybody per se get canceled, but I would like her to find the healing she needs and grow. But then Candace Owens brings up another subject. So we see that because of her controversial views and how they seem to back, a certain agenda, she's being asked to give her opinion on things. Well, it goes to say, like, what can we do at a smaller level? Something that a friend of mine brought up that they seen that their job is that some of the black community was complaining to their leadership about things that should be done and stuff like that. And then, so you got the attention of someone. We see this happening in a lot of areas. We have everyone's attention, and there's white people out there that want to be allies. They're saying, all right, well, what can I do to help? Hey, if anybody feels a way at work, if you want to talk about it, you may only have one black person on the team, so we know who you're talking to, but maybe multiple people feel away. Mm-hmm. When white people or anybody outside the culture says, hey, I want to help, or I don't understand, I feel like we should be willing to educate. I know it gets annoying because some people, they do come off like they might be disingenuous about why they're asking, like, are they just trying to create an argument with me or what? But we should be always willing to teach and inform. I mean, it's in our heritage. I mean, when you look at the creation of math in Egypt, and if you look at the Moors and what they did, teaching and educating people, it's kind of like in our blood, it's in our heritage for black people to do so. And I think in this time, if you know a thing, if you know the path that we should go, when you out of frustration do something like Malcolm X did, which is one of his biggest regrets, a white person asks you, what can I do to help? And you say, you know what, nothing. Then at that point, one of two things are probably going to happen. She's going to, if they are intentional of really helping, they'll go to someone else. But what if that someone else is Candace Owens? Do you want her to be the voice that trains all white people on how they should handle black issues in America? That's scary. Or what if the person becomes just discouraged in general, right? And they just say, well, I'm not going to help at all because this black person said I can't help, or they told me to go find it myself. And maybe, once again, if they go find it themselves, maybe they're intentional of doing it, they may find it in a source that's not helpful to what we want as an end result. So we have to find the stamina to do it.
So there are some comments here. Paul says, real talk. Lana says, black people need to keep their issues in-house, colorism, crime, etc. She does too. Maybe says, yes, teach and educate. Here's my thing to follow what Juan was just saying. If somebody in the community wants to educate white people, let them go ahead and educate white people. If somebody in the community wants to protest, let them go ahead and protest. If they want to write, let them go ahead and write. The point I'm trying to meaning is that we have to, as a community, we have to learn that this is a very pivotal moment. And I do understand the reasons why we have issues coming together as a collective because of a lot of psychological issues. But the point being is stop policing other people in the collective. It's a multi-level issue. We need people on the front lines to work on legislation. We need protesters. We need activists. We need funding in our organizations. We need people who are willing to go and teach the allies or go over and talk to white people and educate them and then bring them back. Because I don't necessarily want them going on Google and finding things that's not true. So the reality is stop policing people for their choice in forward progression. We all are trying to get there. And then furthermore, if you don't agree with something, all this dragging on social media, I can't stand it. I myself have even felt that some of my followers even come at me crazy because you don't agree with me. You don't have to agree with me, but you need to respect me. And to Lana's point, right now is not the time to be dogging and being decisive. As an example, and then I'll go off my soapbox. Muriel Bowser put that beautiful, if you want to call it a mural, what do you want to call it? I don't know, a mural leading up to the White House and rename the street Black Lives Matter. She's getting dragged on Twitter and by people on social media because they feel that she has not been here and that she is posturing for getting reelected. Maybe she is, but the reality is shut up, appreciate what she's doing. She's acknowledging her role now. Maybe she didn't do it in the past, but she's doing it now. If white folks want to donate to organizations, let them. Why do we have to tear down everything and argue about everything? I get the reasons why we do it, but it is so frustrating. The end.
We got some comments, so let's go. So no, and you got a lot of hand claps and applauses while you were talking, so you're right. Lana said, if people want to help, we need to work on getting equality in housing, zoning, pay, education, etc. I'm going to come back to that point because that's a good point.
It is.
Herman Altar, he says, embrace that. It may be a little awkward at first, but we should be ready to talk to white folks. In fact, we got Lana hand clapping. You got Herman cheering you on. Sandra saying that's whole facts. I agree with you, sis. Lana again, she says, I agree, but to move the needle, we need to have one purpose. And that purpose, everyone has a role, collective impact.
The collective.
Paul Thompson, yo, shout out Baltimore in the building. Hey, if y'all want some good barbecue in the area, Paul, make sure you send me your information so you can be one of our highlights soon here on a Thursday for Black Business, all right? But Paul says, our fight for civil rights has never been singularly focused. It takes attacking the issue from all angles to affect change.
Yep.
Facts. Lana, listen, we need the symbolism. Let her live. And then Herman, can we get back to real conversations? I appreciate that. Now, kind of skipping around the order a little bit, but since it was brought up, you know, with the Muriel Bowser thing, right? Look, I get it. Some people may have a legit reason to be upset because DC is one of the fastest gentrified cities in the nation right now. And some people feel like maybe she could have done more to slow that pace, right?
She probably could.
And let's be honest, our vote, while gestures are good, with our vote, we need to see legislation in place that also supports Black Lives Matter. Saying it is cool. I play Call of Duty, right? And right now, every time you go into a new match, when the game comes on, they have plastered Black Lives Matter. I love it. There are a bunch of companies out there that have donated millions of dollars to social injustice. A lot of individuals currently doing it.
Mad about that.
Now, but I will say this. Well, we should never say, oh, I'm not going to take your money. Take anybody's money, right? That's just good business. You take their money and we'll go ahead and do what we need to do with it. Somebody, listen, if you're watching this, maybe you're not part of the culture. Maybe you are part of the culture. If you want to give money, right, please give it. We'll list some good places to place your money. If you don't know where, maybe you got like $50. You know what you can do? You can buy a shirt from the Nitty Gritty Show because we're always going to take our money and vote, and we're also being active in our community. That's one way of supporting. I'm just going to throw that out there. But we'll take your money. All right? Let me just put that out there for everybody, for every organization out there trying to do good work. We will gladly take your money and do some good with it. All right? We can never have enough money to fight this thing.
I was going to say, I don't see how you're benefiting the collective by just going on Facebook and going into comments.
Yeah, we have to have solutions. Now,
like, that's just running your mouth. It's not doing anything.
But I will say this. There's nothing wrong with charging our politicians and our, I guess, the celebrities that want to speak up.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with charging businesses that speak up. So if you speak out, you stand in solidarity, we applaud them. And we appreciate it. I don't want to act as if that's not a big deal because the symbolism has an effect on people, right? However, if we are going to charge you to do more, I'm happy that your company gave so much money. But if you're not paying the black people within that company the same amount of money you pay to the white folks, and this goes for women actually. If you have women there being underpaid to the same rate that black people are being paid, that's a way to make Black Lives Matter. It's not just about police brutality. Trust me, that's a big part. That's where the basis of the protests are coming from. But Black Lives Matter goes beyond people asking to defund the police or charge some murderers. It's also, even when this shirt, I can't breathe, it goes beyond just someone standing on my neck. How about someone standing on my neck financially? How about standing on my neck when it comes to actual progress? Or standing on my neck when it comes to how I walk down the street or how my heart beats when the police pull up behind me? That's also a part of that not breathing effect. And if you want to really support Black lives, pay your employees equally, right? When I look at your C-suite, if all I see is old white men, how progressive are you? If all I see is just white people, how progressive are you? If you're really going to support Black lives, if I'm going to charge you to do more, while I support your gestures and you're retweeting the hashtag and you saying thoughts and prayers, that's dope, that's cool. But if you really want to do something to support people, you don't really got to give a dime. Just pay those people you've been underpaying for years and get them that money. And then don't be afraid to open up the books. Lana said receipts. Don't be afraid to open up the books and prove you're paying people equal wages based off talent and ability, not off the prospect of the color of their skin.
Right, right. Also, too, when it comes to equality, advocating, if you know that you're actively, most people, we're not as active just yet in the politics, right? If you know that you're active in politics and you have a voice, advocate for those communities. They're food insecure. They are park insecure. Advocate for them, right? So when you are regenderifying different spaces, you need to stand up at the little community members and say, hey, I think there's some black folks here that would love to benefit in this conversation. Do you mind if we go out and we ask them to come to the table and ask for their opinion? Do you mind if we save a few apartments for them so that way they can benefit from all this new lavish stuff so they don't feel like they're disenfranchised and kicked out of the community? That is how you fight for equality, not just sitting comfortably in yourself, but being out of your uncomfortableness, going out of your way to advocate for somebody else. That's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah, and we got some comments from Facebook. I appreciate those comments. So Lana said, if there are not black leaders in the company, keep the statement. I want, some leadership. Yeah, right. We have some people agreeing with the statements, equally, amen. That's right. Sandra said, or add diversity or on your executive board for those that have influence to make decisions. Exactly. Don't let them be, I think what Lana is saying, diversity and inclusion department will not be enough. Don't just give us some lame title that don't really mean anything. No, I'm talking about at the COO, CEO, CVO, senior vice president, even at the director levels. I saw that Foot Locker put out a statement. I guess my challenge with the Foot Locker, I'm not sure if this is the case or not. How many just simply black directors do you have over regional sales? How many of those people are the regional directors? Are people going beyond just manager or district manager? Are they going into positions where they can really affect change and hire to have more diversity and inclusion? Right?
But there also is a call to action, not only for white folks or people who have these high positions of power and money, but there is a call to action to black folks to unlearn some of our habits. Meaning, if I see now with this going on, I see someone at my level get picked for elevation to the C-suite, I need to be happy for her. I need to be happy for him. Maybe they don't have as much credentials. I need to support that man and support that woman to be happy. So unlearning our you know how our mentality is, unlearning that behavior to support people who are advancing. And if there are platforms at your company, diversity platforms, African American networks, not complaining about what they are doing, but coming to the table and offering yourself.
Yeah.
Offering yourself.
Change does start with you, and I think Kennedy said it best, right? He's like, don't ask what your country can do for you, but what can you do for your country, right?
It's going to take a lot of change on both sides, I think. Because I think that part of us changing, I think, is us acknowledging that we're worthy. that we're worthy. I feel like oftentimes when I listen to the words we use in spaces, I don't know if I'm good enough, or I don't know if they're gonna like me. No, you're good enough. They're gonna like you with your natural hair. You are worthy. And I think my charge to you and my charge to myself is to reaffirm each other in our space as we navigate into these different places. Just reaffirm each other.
Let's go to some comments here. So we have Lana said, and this is a good point, Lana. I love what you say here. She said, don't ask me to come to the table. Say you belong and you are needed. Because there's a difference. It's one thing just to like affirmative action you to the spot. And that's a whole other conversation in itself, because, you know, there's a lot of people that bring up affirmative action and they say like, oh, well, you know, you're just giving black people positions. Trust me, those people that actually somewhat benefit from that, they are overqualified typically for the position, right? So we won't even go there. But good point, Lana. She said also, listen, how many of your buyers are black at Nike? Then Herman makes a good point. He says the black agenda has to be the ultimate, the litmus test utilized before we placate our votes, time, and money. I like that. Lana said it's a top-down approach and grassroots up. Herman is applauding the unlearned idea from you, Kat. Also, Lana says, Kat, we need to support them and help them stay there and bring others. That's right. If people will step up, instead of being so critical of them, oh, I saw you write this statement, your period wasn't there, you know, this. It's like, no, applaud somebody trying to put out the right information, okay? We can't tear activity down, right, and then drive people to inactivity, because that hasn't gotten us anywhere. Sandra said, unlearn the crab in the basket mentality. I appreciate that. Christopher said, my biggest concern is that people won't get the protest are more about than police brutality. Amen to that. He said it's about global economic exploitation, political disenfranchisement, disillusionment with government, and the prospects for a better future. Man, that brother preaching. And then he said inadequate health and lack of affordable housing. That brother said a mouthful. I appreciate a smart black man.
What was Stacey's question?
She said, what are your thoughts? Can you clarify to me what are your thoughts on which subject? Let me know. We'll come back to that. And then Lana says the black agenda is one thing. Don't kill us. Start there. Then create the strategic plan.
Oh, okay. There she is.
All right. Oh, okay. So for some reason the message didn't come on. So she said, what are your thoughts on promoting resiliency in spaces where the energy still keeps you down? Thoughts on how to remain resilient.
So I like that.
Actually, me and Katrina just had this conversation personally the other day. And this week, I found myself like in the middle of the week, like just kind of like low energy, just kind of like, just almost down, right? Because it's a lot. It's like you keep on saying the same thing. And I think what kind of brought this on is the Drew Brees situation. Because it's like, he still don't get why Colin Kaepernick was kneeling. And he apologized real quick. It was like, okay, somebody caught me up to speed. No, bruh. Somebody caught you up to speed 4 years ago when we first talked about this. So, and you pretending that you think it's still about the military. So I just found myself just upset and mad, Stacey. But I will say this. Then I had to think about the fact that Martin Luther King dies. There's 6 days of protest. And then Lyndon B. Johnson signs into act the Voter Act of 1968, right? Martin Luther King never saw his dream come to be. Malcolm X never saw his dream come to be.
Wow.
So many have died. Crispix Attucks never even seen the turmoil that the revolution would create from 1775 when he died in protest in Boston. So many people have laid down their lives and never even had the chance to see their dream come to be. So who am I, with life, with blood still moving through my veins, breathing, even though it is hard to breathe? Trust me, it is hard to breathe being black sometimes in this country. But I cannot give up knowing that people have literally laid down their lives to make a better life for someone else. So I get it. Some work environments are not conducive to having the right conversations. Some educational organizations haven't been in our favor and how we progress. And everybody knows this darn country hasn't done well. And let's be honest, we have racist Democrats and we have racist Republicans, and neither one of them have really passed any laws that's going to be really directed against the black agenda to help us get out of this funk that we're in. Okay? So with that said, we got to keep marching on. We have to keep pressing.
I think too. I think it's okay to unplug from social media if you need it.
Yeah, sometimes you need that mental.
I think it's okay to run. I think it's okay to do Zumba. I think it's okay to paint. I think it's okay to write. I think basically, to answer your question in like 2 seconds, is do what feels natural to your body and your soul, whatever makes you happy, and do it to your best ability. This is the time to create. Be a black painter. Be a black writer. Just do whatever feels natural to you. That's what I think. And hopefully that'll give you the adrenaline rush you need to continue to press forward.
Yeah, sometimes you do need a mental break. There is nothing wrong, especially because I know a lot of you on here. We know a lot of you personally, and we know that you guys do diligent work trying to either raise your families right. Some of you are ministers. Some of you are doing stuff actively in your communities. Some of you are just voting. Right? Some of you are just doing your part of being a good example of what it means to be a citizen and showing how that works within the black culture, right? But with that, sometimes you need a break, right? And we need to allow for these folks who are fighting, like the Tamika Mallory's, the various activists out there that speak on our behalf. We need to allow them time to rest. Sometimes you be like, I haven't heard from Amanda Seals yet. I haven't heard from Angela Rye, where she been at. And then sometimes, you know what? Maybe they're taking a mental break. Because they've been talking. They've been talking since Obama was in office. Some of them have been out there fighting since Clinton was in office. And sometimes they just get tired of saying the same thing week in and week out on Fox, on MSNBC, making a quote of Washington Post, having to correct the Washington Post when they write it wrong, or the New York Times, right? Some people are just tired. Allow them a chance to breathe, right? Let them take a break. Trust me, it's in them. They're going to come back to the fight. So I think sometimes people need a break. But then, you know, while others are taking breaks, somebody needs to keep fighting and be on someone else's neck, because Drew Brees, that whole thing, that really just took me out. Because I was just kind of like, there's actual video of you kneeling. So what the heck did you get down on your knees for? Did you not get it? I mean, what is wrong with them? And you know what? I hope his team, let me say this one ignorant comment. I'm going to go there just for a second. Just allow me a little bit of ignorance, folks. I hope his team don't block that crap for him during football season. I hope they do him like Jamie Foxx in the movie Any Given Sunday when he got the big head. They let everybody hit that boy every play. They tore him up. I hope his ribs, just like he go to bed every night in a cold bath. Alright? I won't be like old girl from The Color Purple. Until you do right by me, nothing will ever be right. Listen.
Or like Law Orgy.
Yeah.
Your third child will turn to dust.
Yeah, will have no eyes. Look, put out curses sometimes. But no, seriously, it's like, folks, that's the problem with just having a gesture, right? You do a thing, but you need to understand why you're doing it. And I think that's why I have to challenge those businesses.
You know what? This is my own theory, guys. Now follow me here. I think sometimes with white folks who are really patriotic and they are so gung-ho about the flag and gung-ho about the national anthem, I think it's because when you think about all minority groups, we have a sense of culture. Mm-hmm. And I think for white Americans, being a patriot and waving the flag is their sense of culture. Even though it's not really, but I think that's why they get so like about it. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys agree with that, and I'm not excusing it. I think Drew Brees is wrong, but I try to understand my push for myself is trying to understand the mindset of someone. So I'm trying to understand why Drew Brees and all these other folks, Trump, are so invested in the flag and invested in the national anthem. It was written a long time ago.
I can answer that because there's fake patriotism, right? Drew Brees talks about how his grandfathers were veterans, and that's shout out to anybody that put their life in the line during the military. But you know what? Herman Altar, who's on this right now, Mamie Altar, myself, we're all actual veterans, right?
Don't forget about the black folks who fought in World War II.
Look at the Buffalo Soldiers, the Harlem Hellfighters, folks that fought for a country during a time they didn't even have the right to express all of their rights, right?
That was so sad.
So it's kind of like when you have this fake patriotism, that you more like patriotic really is. We see through it when you don't respect that the law is not given to all citizens of this country.
Right.
That's why we know that Trump is fake patriotic. Matter of fact, half of y'all run around here with these, hopefully it's nobody on this chat, but y'all run around here with these American flag shirts. Y'all got it on your pants and all that. When you look at the flag and how we're supposed to present the flag, that is not the proper way of the flag. And that in itself actually dishonors the flag.
But why did he say it when the NFL made a statement saying that they got it wrong? I'm confused.
Because people...
Or do you think the NFL was... You know.
I mean, Jay-Z's involved. Maybe now they have no choice but to pay attention. Who knows? But it doesn't make sense. Let's go to some comments. So Chris says, yes, absolutely, Katrina. Art can be a huge source of inspiration. Inspiration is what we need to keep moving. Amen to that. Lana mentioned self-care is necessary and don't apologize for it. You can't keep going if you don't have it. Got to put gas in the tank, right? Yeah. Lana also said, listen, we are all living this trauma together, and some of us need to keep the rotation going. Amen to that. Chris, I love this couple. The McKinneys are always just giving us life.
I love the McKinneys. I want y'all to move here.
Often we underestimate the symbolism and awareness, both of which can spark inspiration. Amen. Lana said he kneeled because he was supposed to. Yeah, exactly. I think he just did it, but he didn't know what the heck he was doing. Chris brings up the fact that art and other forms of symbolism are very important. Lana brings up Jerry Jones, they keep their coins. Exactly. People do things because it's good for the money, right? And I think that's what a lot of businesses have done. They're acting as if they support it because they're like, you know what? A lot of black people are buying our products. Well, no, so let's say that we're standing in solidarity. Then you got some people ignorant like Dan Snyder. He don't even care. He's just like, yeah, I'm going to double down on my ignorance. Well, that's a whole nother thing.
Not only that, but I think it only takes one tweet, one social media post to say this company is not standing in solidarity. They must be racist. And now all their bottom line revenue may be affected. Mm-hmm. So people are trying to get ahead of it like, well, let's just put out something so that way people will think. I don't even think people even know what I'm sure people don't even know what does standing in solidarity really even mean. I'm saying it, but do they really understand what it means? And the reality is, I don't think people really do. I don't.
Yeah, because standing in solidarity, and then I'm gonna go to some more comments. It's like I'm standing on the front line, willing to take a bullet, and you're claiming you're standing in solidarity with me. But the second the bullet starts firing, you throw me in the way and you duck and run. That's not standing with me. It's being willing to take those bullets when they come, right? Excuse me. Lana mentions about American means white. Everyone else has to hyphenate. And and that's true, because right when you say African American, Latin American, Chinese American, no one ever says Euro American. Because let's be honest, the Europeans came over here in 1492.
They don't say white American.
No, they don't say white American. The closest you get to it is people of color will say white America needs to, white America this. But white Americans or European Americans, whatever they are, you would never hear them label themselves that. The only ones that will sometimes is you'll get Irish Americans, Jewish Americans, and also Italian Americans who have all faced their own sort of persecution in the New England area at some point or another. What I find interesting about that, all three have been guilty of being very racist towards black people.
Of course.
Even though they would have somewhat of an understanding of what we've gone through or our plight when they immigrated over in the late 1800s and the early 1900s.
Because of course it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I may not be at the top, but I ain't the bottom. Y'all the bottom. Yeah. And I don't want to be associated with the bottom, so I'm going to continue to treat you like trash because I think that you're at the bottom and I'm closer looking to those at the top.
Yep.
Sadly.
Sandra brought up the fact that, Drew Brees' grandfather was in the military, but I mean, it's like so removed, right? It's like, do you really have an idea of what that really means to the individual directly who told Colin Kaepernick that kneeling is a very respectful way to protest during the national anthem and not be actually disrespectful? He went to veterans first.
I know.
Let me get one more comment out, and then we'll move on.
I want you to have a question for everybody.
Oh, great. Herman said, another dog whistle in certain circles, the idea of patriotism. Exactly. Because they try to use that to overtalk the real agenda. And then Lana said, laugh aloud, we may. Yo, shout out Brent. I see you there. We got Columbia in the building. You said you had a question for the group.
For the whole group. During these times, being that you are a black person or a person of color or an ally, and we now have the attention, what are some things you think would help people feel emboldened. Because I've noticed that people want to say more, or they want to be very direct, but they are fearful that the backlash may result to them losing their job or whatever. Similar to Colin Kaepernick, I think he could have had more support, but I think people were scared to support him because they're like, yo, this is how I pay, my family eats. So the question is, as Black folks, do you think we are at a place where we can be emboldened, we can be direct, or do you think we still have to move in a way where we won't come across as threatening? Not that we have, not that people think that we are naturally aggressive people. That's just what they think in their mind. So I'm trying to garner from you guys what suggestions you have on how we can communicate and convey our wants, and it won't come across, I don't know. I think they're going to still think it's threatening. I don't know.
But we'll be curious to see what your thoughts are. We got about 9 minutes, so we'll try to get that in before we head out to some shout outs and some more stuff.
I guess while they're typing, you can shout out folks.
Yeah, so, while you guys are typing, let me do some shout outs real quick. I don't want to forget. Brent, since you're here, I meant to bring this up last week, but happy 50th birthday to you, sir.
What?
Yeah, and Brent looked good for 50,
yes.
Man. Shout out, man. So, yeah, happy 50th birthday to you. We had another engagement, so we couldn't do, I see that your wife had organized a drive-by for your 50th. I wanted to swing through there, but we had another engagement we were at, so we couldn't drive by. But definitely happy birthday to you, sir. You've been a long supporter of the Nitty Gritty Show, and we appreciate you, man.
So I see some comments. Lana said, be direct, this is the prime time. Chris said,
yeah, don't mince words.
If I thought silence would save my life, I would be quiet. That is true. And what I'm saying is, when you're direct, do I go in there and say, y'all need to give me Juneteenth now? Period, point and blank.
Man, let me talk about that, because
or is there a way to be strategic in how you be direct? I guess is what I'm saying.
I'm not going to say I'm going to talk about it, but I'm going to make a comment about it because we're running.
You give me Juneteenth off now.
But the whole thing, this whole unreasonable ask about, give me off Juneteenth, right? I get it. I get where it's coming from. But my thing is, why ask your company to give you Juneteenth off when instead just ask for another PTO day? Because what you got to understand is that your company is not Black Lives Matter. Your company is whoever it is you work for, all these different places you can work, right? And your company's bottom line is typically making money. So maybe you can volley for saying, okay, give us more PTO time, because they're not going to just give it to the Black people. Because keep in mind, I have Jewish friends that use their PTO to take off for their various customs and services. Same thing on the Muslim side. I have Muslim friends that do the same thing. They use their PTO so that way they can do Eid Marak and different things like that and celebrate that. And I think if you truly value June 14th, you will use your PTO for that. Don't use your PTO just on Dubai, just on Cabo, and just on all these vacations that you do that you use to stunt on the gram, and then you didn't save no time for social injustice if it's that important to you, right? And I know that might be an unpopular opinion, but I think if you really care about protest, if you really care about some things, some of it you'll make a sacrifice for. And if that means using your PTO to do so, proof in how you live. I'm just saying, I'm not looking for my company to give me June 14th off or Juneteenth off. I'll just take it off.
Honestly, I'm not using my PTO. Y'all need to give it to me. So I think that you can convey that to leadership. The question I have is, how do you convey to a company whose bottom line is to make money that you need Juneteenth off via PTO, and how can that then be combated from a strategic standpoint to the company, in which people may say, well, if y'all gave the Black folks Juneteenth, I want to take off this Jewish holiday, and I want PTO, and I want to take off this gay holiday, and I want to take off this Latino holiday, and this Chinese holiday, and this whatever. How do you, think about that to justify the reason why they need to either A, give up all holidays? Does that mean that it affects the bottom line from everybody's salary? Or does that mean that they give it off to us? I guess I'm just trying to figure out, how are we strategically going forward to have these wants? Yeah,
and I think when it comes to days off and customs like that, instead of getting your company to honor it, your company honors it typically because it's made federal law. So be strategic. Don't go to your CEO for it. Instead, do like what Pennsylvania did. Pennsylvania actually made Juneteenth an actual celebrated holiday within its state.
So go to the government. I love that.
Yeah, go to the government. Because then if the government honors it, then your company has no choice but to follow back.
Bingo!
Alright, so strategy. That's why we bring this to the table. Let me read some comments and then we're going to get ready to close out because we're about to fall off. Brent from our IG page, he's just saying thank you, appreciates us. We love you, Brent. I'm gonna get there. Stacy Lynn said, great question, Katrina. I think everyone has a right to expression. She says, tapping around the issues may expose more risk than benefits, so maybe more intentional convos about culture, customs can occur. I agree with that. And I think we see some of the echo here. Lana says, speak up and say if you silence me, you agree, and I intend to share that with others. People don't like cancel culture, but it's real. Exactly. And Lana, I gotta feel. Hey, at least you keeping it real, right? She says you can be polite, but be honest. That's what I did. I'm not using my PTO. Y'all give it to me. We grew up in Cleveland Heights, where we were given Jewish holidays. No districts did.
Yeah, we were. Okay,
good point. Lana said we built this ish. Give me, puts hand out. Lana said also, by saying if you want to continue making a profit, you need to address this need. Other people don't have our history. Our agenda is first right now. Let me go write a letter. So I agree with that. And then also keep in mind, something that you did bring up though, Lana, is Cleveland Heights. So once again, the local municipality honors it. As a result, the schools, the businesses start to follow suit because the municipality does it. So I think the strategy there is go to the municipality to get paid.
I don't think there's anything wrong with asking, because a closed mouth don't get me fed. So if you ask your company honors it, kudos.
Yeah, nothing wrong with asking, but just keep in mind some of the things we ask, there might be a strategy to it, right? No ask is wrong, right? But then it's kind of like, to get the most out of it. It's kind of like with our parents, right? I knew not to ask my parents for certain things if my chores weren't done yet. So I was always strategic. I knew I wanted to spend the night over at my friend's house on the weekend. So Thursday, I used to go to my dad, Herman, and say, hey, you know what, Dad? I already got that garage clean. Because then he can't ask me on Friday to do it. I already did it. So can I go ahead and be let loose? There's a strategy. Now, I could have just go ahead and asked him on Thursday, hey, can I go spend the night? But by me cleaning that garage first, I got that yes. And I used to be out that joint. Let me read one more comment and then we'll close out. Chris said, it's different because the African American is unrecognized. Blood and sweat is in this soil. I feel you, brother. He said, we should have unique privilege in this country when it comes to holidays and similar activities. Kind of like how the Native Americans are treated in some retrospect. And I feel you on that. And even in that, though, once again, there's still like a strategy to how you make that happen. So that way it creates almost a trickle-down effect on how people respond, right? That's all I would suggest. Let me knock out these shout-outs and then we'll get ready to roll out with some music. Once again, we appreciate everybody for being here. Yeah, so I said happy birthday to Brent. Appreciate you. Shout out to my bruh, Stephen Williams, a.k.a. Duck. I love you, man. Also, shout out to Muriel Bowser for that gesture. I mean, I thought that was dope. Black Lives Matter on 16th Street and renaming that area, that block, DC Black Lives Matter place. Also, shout out to Trayon White and Robert White. No relation, but I am related to Robert White. Trayon White has been re-elected for Councilman of Ward 8. Yay. So shout out Trayon White. And also shout out to Robert White for being re-elected to Councilman at Large in the DC area. Continue to support these young brothers. Both of them, I think, are under the age of, well, definitely the age of 40. I think Trayon might be in his 20s still. And he's a whole councilman in DC. That's dope. So let's continue to support them. Both of them have been behind some very progressive legislation, from recidivism to housing and trying to keep DC black as possible. The two of them, I believe are at the forefront of making go-go music the official music of DC. And there was some go-go music at the protest yesterday, so that was dope. Yeah, that's dope. And then Lana said thanks. She's definitely going to write her governor. That's what's up. Yeah, make things happen over there in KC. Brent says, love y'all. Keep doing what y'all do.
Keep your foot on the gas, y'all. Our voices are finally being heard.
Yep.
Continue
we got their attention.
To move. Continue to work together. Continue to strategize. Think. Continue to make yourself first as far as your peace. But nonetheless, keep your foot on the gas.
Yep. Stacy said yes. Keep going. You all, love you, and hugs. Great show.
Thank you, Stacy, for your support. Thank you, everybody, for your support. Lana, Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
Paul, Chandra.
So many others. We got representation all over the nation here tonight, and we love it. We appreciate it. Let's keep it going. Look, the third Sunday this month, so not next Sunday, the Sunday after Father's Day, we will be having game night. We will be doing Taboo, since it was highly requested. Alright, so y'all be ready for that. Also, don't forget to go to squadlocker.com, type in the Nitty Gritty Show, where you can find some of our shirts and some merchandise we have for sale. Also, you know where to find us. At the Nitty Gritty Show 2017 on Facebook. If you're here, we're at the Nitty Gritty Show on IG. And also you can find us, the Nitty Gritty Show, at youtube.com. You're listening to Incognito off their Adventures in Black Sunshine album. The song is Principles of Love. I got that all out before we close out. Let's go. I got that. Y'all be careful. Keep it going. We appreciate you, Lana. Love you guys. And enjoy y'all Sunday. We'll see you guys again next Sunday, 8 p.m. We out.